Good morning. My name is Jessyn Farrell. I am the Deputy Mayor for the City of Seattle with Parks, Transportation, and Sustainability in my portfolio. We are so delighted to have so many people here for Earth Day. Let's give ourselves a big round of applause. This is amazing. So we are here today because climate is a unifying issue in Seattle that we take seriously, and we are so excited to take the next step in bold climate action. Before we jump into our program, I just want to acknowledge all of the amazing department directors who are here from the city. Raise your hand if you are a department director. I see AP, I see Nathan, Michelle, Dawn, Audium. Let's give them a round of applause. Raise your hand if you are a City of Seattle employee. We are so delighted you are here. Woo! We are #1 on climate action because of everything you're doing. And I want to also welcome our community members. Raise your hand if you are a member of the community or a Green New Deal Oversight Board member. All right. So this is the group that is going to bring us forward on climate action. We are here today to sign an executive order that is going to modernize our climate action plan. We are going to include, of course, bold action to reduce emissions, but also new elements to include resiliency, adaptation. We know that climate change is happening, and so we're going to have to work with our communities to be ready for it. And also the transition to a green economy so that everyone has access to good paying jobs. So I am delighted that everyone is here. I am now going to introduce our climate champion-in-chief, Mayor Bruce Harrell, who has been such an amazing leader in his administration, helping lead the way to pass building emissions performance standards, getting heat pumps into homes, and resilience facilities like the one that we're in. So without any further ado, let's give a warm welcome to Mayor Bruce Harrell.
Thank you, Jessyn. Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Now that I fixed it, let me adjust it a little bit. I'm talking to climate champions, and I realize that, and I want to thank you for being here. It's amazing who will come out when we say we're going to have coffee and cookies. I want to get a few thanks out the way before my substantive remarks. Emily Kelly is the director here at Mart City Park, and I think many of you are aware of the transformation from a gas station to a community hub, and Emily continues to advocate for environmental action down here in the Duwamish Valley and other areas, and so let's give a warm round of applause to Emily for the leadership that Emily's done. And again, SDOT Director Audium Emery and OSC Director Michelle Caulfield, they continue to center us in the right discussions and push us to be more creative, to take more chances. And of course, you'll hear from Councilmember Alexis Rinck, who chairs the Council's Sustainability Committee. She is a proven commodity, if you will. I don't know if calling someone a commodity is a good thing, but I'm gonna go with it. A proven talent, if you will, in this commitment to our planet, into our water, into our air. So thank you for your leadership. You are a strong addition to the council for what you bring. So thank you for being here as well. I want to ground this in a quote, if I may. It's from Desmond Tutu, who many of you know is a South African human rights activist, and he said, 25 years ago, people could be excused for not knowing much or not doing much about climate change, but today we have no excuse. And we do this because we follow the data, and many of you, we follow the science, and many of you are seeing what's coming out of the other Washington, D.C. President Trump signed an executive order that targets climate laws in states and cities, and is reportedly looking at perhaps issuing another executive order targeting environmental and climate nonprofit organizations. Well, we have an executive order too, and it's a thoughtful one, and it's based on data and science and Seattle's commitment and this region's commitment to fight climate change. And so it's a fairly comprehensive executive order, but it's time to update it. We have many challenges right now. I literally just left a labor strike on some issues dealing with our immigrant and refugee and asylum seeker workers, and some beautiful people who need a voice, and I was very proud to echo their voices through mine. But that doesn't stop us doing this important, critical climate work within our lifetimes. So on Earth Day, this executive order sort of represents our One Seattle vision at its best. It's a roadmap, a vision, if you will, requires us, and I'm very thankful that our department heads are here. It was mandatory for you to be here, but nevertheless, we're thankful that you are here. You know, we're proud that Seattle has been a national and global leader on sustainability and climate action for decades. And so while I really appreciate Deputy Mayor Farrell's words and her kindness and her leadership, I do stand on the back of many mayors before me and many department heads that were before you, many of you, and many city employees that are still here that really were courageous enough to start talking about these issues decades ago. We've made a lot of progress over the last years when you look at our building emissions performance standards, passing the transportation levy through the work of many people who are listening to me right now, speeding up light rail expansion that is going to be critical. Updating our climate plan at this critical moment gives us a chance to sort of take stock of the progress that we've made, but to roll up our sleeves and do more. So the plan includes near and medium-term actions to reduce emissions from the transportation sector that many of you know are responsible for about 60% of our emissions in the city. We'll work with our transit partners and SDOT to adopt strategies to encourage, for example, when the World Cup is here and we're getting ready for it. I used to know the number of days. I had like a check in the box every day that it was going by as it gets closer. But we'll make sure that we'll encourage 80% of the attendees to navigate their trip without the use of a car. And that's going to take some thoughtful planning any way you look at that. We'll also accelerate our transportation electrification efforts, electrifying our own city fleet and installing more charging stations and even more pieces of the components of the infrastructure that will help us use different forms of ending our reliance on fossil fuel. I'll just put it that way. Along with reducing transportation emissions, we're also supporting more ways for people to get around in more pedestrian-focused spaces. And you've heard me talk in other environments about the pedestrian experience. You know, the pedestrian experience is a beautiful experience when done properly. It slows us down, allows us to talk to one another, allows us to enjoy each other. You probably read an article today about our Pike Place Market piloting a limited street access to non-essential vehicles. It's been what I try to tell folks that work around me, at least in a close proximity, is, you know, if these jobs were easy and all these decisions were easy to make, someone would have made them a long time ago. Sometimes you have to plow through these decisions, listen to communities, look at what the impediments are, but you have to lead. And I'm very proud of my administration and the people around me that will push politics aside and say, let's lead, let's do what is right. So now more than ever, we think local action on climate is incredibly important. You know, when we look at what we're doing at the Overlake Walk area, the new protected bike lanes, we're creating a world-class pedestrian experience at every opportunity. Now is the time. I hope this part isn't, you hear me clearing my throat sometimes. Now is not time to have allergies either, I'll tell you that. My goodness gracious. I woke up this morning thinking I have a busy schedule, but who do I complain to? The mayor doesn't have anyone to complain to. If anyone wants me to complain to them, see me after this, because I was telling my wife, I said, who do I get to complain to? In all seriousness, this work we're doing on climate change, we have to do it with the right values, the right data, and the right heart. And I know I have the right people in place. It's fundamental. It is a fundamental governmental purpose, and let's not confuse our role as governmental leaders. Here in Seattle, we'll continue to pursue bold policies and programs that fight the climate crisis, and as Deputy Mayor Farrell said, create these great green jobs, a great economic development effort as well, and of course, at the end of the day, reduce our greenhouse emissions. So thank you for being here, and I'm going to pass it back to Deputy Mayor Farrell, that rhymes with Harrell. Thank you.
There you go. Thank you, Mayor Harrell. I am now delighted to introduce our very own Interim Deputy Director, Lylianna Allala. Many of you know her as a climate justice leader locally, but she is also a climate justice leader nationally and internationally, and this year she is serving as an Obama Fellow. So we are so lucky to have this champion in our midst.
Thanks, Deputy Mayor. Hi, everyone. Happy Earth Day. Good morning, and thank you so much for joining us on this sunny Earth Day. I'm excited to be with you today as we kick off the update to Seattle's Climate Action Plan. It's undeniable, climate change is happening right now, and while we're all feeling its impacts, we know low income and communities of color are amongst those who experience those impacts disproportionately. While climate change and its effects have gotten worse since 2013, the year that Seattle's first climate action plan was published, we are even more knowledgeable today on how we can reduce greenhouse gas emissions and adapt to the already occurring impacts of climate change. We are more knowledgeable about how we make these shifts in a way that doesn't leave people behind or continue to widen disparities for communities continually overburdened by the impacts of environmental pollution and economic inequality. During increasingly common extreme heat waves in Seattle, for example, older homes and buildings may not be equipped with air conditioning, and not every family can afford to make those upgrades. As many of us know, cooling our homes, schools, child care centers, and workplaces is not a luxury. It is a necessity and a critical public health intervention. That is why Seattle departments are working together to upgrade community centers and improve air quality, energy efficiency, and cooling measures. As the mayor said, we at the city know that we are responsible to ensuring our residents are prepared for climate change, and we're ready for that challenge. Mayor Harrell's executive order marks our commitment to this. The new Climate Action Plan presents an update for city departments, young people, elders, community leaders, businesses, tribal and regional government partners to come together and apply our best thinking towards solutions that prioritize the collective well-being in the face of climate change. Solutions that support public health and reduce indoor air pollution in our homes with technologies such as heat pumps or induction cooktops, strategies that grow career pathways for diverse and inclusive workforce to help us meet our greenhouse gas emission reduction goals and help our city adapt to the changes of the impacts of climate change. Climate adaptation actions that help reduce vulnerability to sea level rise, flooding, extreme heat, and drought. Here in the Georgetown neighborhood in the Duwamish Valley, residents are too familiar with the legacy of pollution from heavy industry and highways. We'll hear more from Emily Kelly, an important partner to the city's Duwamish Valley program, about the role the Mart plays in climate resilience. It's spaces like this that harness creativity to foster community connection in an environmentally minded space. Georgetown is also home to South Seattle College's Workforce Education and Training Center, where thousands of pre-apprentices and apprentices train in 50 different trades, many of them critical to growing the climate-ready workforce that we need. In order to update this new climate action plan to meet the scale of the challenge we face today, we're going to need everyone at the table, all of you. The city's excited to collaborate and co-create with communities who have been developing their own innovative climate solutions to meet their unique needs. I'm excited to collaborate with you all too. So over the next year, OSC and city colleagues will look forward to a creative, collaborative process to ensure our climate actions reflect the diverse voices, needs, and solutions of Seattle's communities for a safe, healthy, and thriving future. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lylianna. I am now delighted to welcome to the podium Emily Kelly, who is the executive director of this amazing space that we are getting to use today. Come on up.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Happy Earth Day. What a beautiful day. Thank you so much for being here with us today. And it's an honor to welcome you on behalf of the Mart City Park team to this deeply meaningful place. What was once a forgotten and contaminated lot is now a home for connection, environmental action, creativity, and possibility. Mart City Park is a nonprofit space for art exhibition, educational programming, and community gathering founded by artist collective Sutton Bears Kohler. They are here in the back. I just want to say hello. Ben Barris, John Sutton, and Zach Kohler. This patch of land has quite the story to tell, one that is rooted in reimagining how and where community spaces can exist. For decades, this site stood as a residential brownfield, home to a defunct gas station that embodied environmental neglect, with residual polluted soil and contaminated groundwater, brambles, and broken concrete. Mart City Park exists as an example of how creative thinking in partnership can address some of the climate challenges that we are faced with today. That ingenuity, environmental action, and community well-being are not separate concerns. They are deeply intertwined. We couldn't be more honored to gather here today, Earth Day, with our neighbors, partners, supporters, and fellow environmental stewards to share what climate resiliency looks like through Mart City Park. When founder Sutton Bears Kohler first leased this property, one solution for cleaning the soil that was presented to them was to move the contaminated soil over 450 miles to southern Oregon, only increasing the environmental impact and not really solving the issue. In good conscience, they determined this could not be the only solution. Instead, they set forth on a thoughtful stewardship path to explore a more impactful approach. Rather than moving the contaminants to become someone else's problem, using more petroleum than they were trying to clean up in the first place, they worked with environmental consultants to comprehensively address the contamination by installing an underground soil remediation system. Through years of collaboration with environmental scientists, city and organizational partners, community members, and many of you here today, we are proud to report that 3 years of our remediation efforts have resulted in over 100 pounds of petroleum hydrocarbons being extracted from the soil, and that 2 out of 3 of our monitoring wells are now testing below cleanup levels. That's pretty incredible. So, we have also taken a holistic approach to community brownfield revitalization by incorporating green infrastructure throughout the space. Green walls, bioretention planters, native and drought-tolerant plantings, and permeable surfaces to manage stormwater and improve water quality. Additionally, just last month, and thanks to the support from the city's Office of Planning and Community Development and Office of Sustainability and Environment's Resiliency Hub programming initiatives, we activated our new solar infrastructure. It's quite beautiful. So thank you. This means that we're now cleaning soil contaminants with the power of the sun, and that in extended power outages, we have the capability of providing power for up to 72 hours. These green infrastructure functions are also reflected in our programming efforts, from our green stormwater infrastructure and youth training program to our recently developed resiliency programming plan. We aim to act as a resource for the various ways individuals can take small action in their communities, small action in their communities, and play an important role. And we'll be hosting our first climate preparedness and resiliency event on May 10th in partnership with the Georgetown Community Council. In a region as vulnerable to climate impacts as the Duwamish Valley, we know resilience must be rooted in community. Transforming this plot into a public green space that is safe, healthy, and thriving couldn't have happened without the steadfast support of many departments of the City of Seattle and King County, among many, many others. Your partnership has helped us believe in the potential of this project. We also thank our neighbors in the Duwamish Valley who guided us, remind us of the importance of environmental justice, and who now continue to help shape the future of the space. Mini Mart City Park is not just a park, it's a platform for artists, for environmental and art educators, for activists, for youth, and for anyone who wants to explore the intersection of sustainability and creativity. Across the nation and world, there are hundreds of thousands of sites like this, and Mini Mart City Park stands as an example that even the most neglected of spaces can become sources of healing and inspiration. And it is a story of transformation, and one that we're excited to continue to share. Thank you all for being a part of it.
Thank you so much. It's so wonderful to hear of all of the different things that have happened to make this space a reality, and that important city and nonprofit and community partnership that brings things like this alive. So thank you for telling that story. I am now more than delighted to introduce climate champion on the City Council, Councilmember Alexis Rinck, who is the chair of the Sustainability Committee and has been such a thoughtful partner throughout, and we know you are going to continue to be a champion as we move through this process. So, welcome on up.
All right, good morning, everybody. I hope you all can see me in the back, unlike our mayor. I, on the other hand, am very short, so you can see me back there. Good morning, everybody. I am humbled to be a part of such an all-star lineup this morning, and even more humbled to be before all of you as champions and folks who have been doing the work to bring us and make the progress that we have made on climate action. So can you please give it up for yourselves this morning? Today, we stand together on Earth Day, and I want to be absolutely clear. The climate crisis isn't knocking out our front door, it is already inside the house. We've seen it in record heat waves that have threatened our most vulnerable residents. And I know that because I've been out on the streets in those heat waves, delivering materials to folks who are actively suffering in the midst of those. And we've breathed it through the wildfire smoke that has choked our city in summers past. And we've watched it every year as communities of color and working class neighborhoods bear the heaviest burden on environmental injustice. Mayor Harrell's executive order to update our climate action plan is a critical step, and I commend it and I appreciate it. And let us also be clear that this must be a catalyst to Seattle's next bold step in climate leadership. Transportation emissions remain our city's largest source of climate pollution. This isn't accidental. It's the result of decades of car-centered planning that has left too many of our neighbors with no choice other than to drive. How many people drove here today? It's okay. Therein lies the problem, and we can do better. As the Sustainability Committee Chair, I'll be working to ensure that this updated climate action plan delivers on transformative change in how we move through Seattle. We need protected bike lanes and sidewalks in every neighborhood, not just our affluent ones. Reliable, frequent public transit that actually serves people where they live and work, accessible transportation options for our seniors and people with disabilities, and strategic investments in EV charging infrastructure, prioritizing multifamily housing and public facilities as detailed in our recently passed Transportation Electrification Strategic Action Plan. And thank you to City Light, who I know is represented here, for their hard work shepherding that. And we must put justice at the center of climate action. And that means creating union green jobs that provide living wages and benefits, implementing anti-displacement policies so working families aren't forced out of their communities as we improve our infrastructure, investing in historically underinvested neighborhoods that have suffered from decades of environmental racism, and ensuring that the benefits of our green transition reach everyone. We don't need another plan that sits on a shelf. We need bold action that matches the scale of the crisis ahead of us. And that's why I'm so excited to work in partnership with the Mayor's Office, the Office of Sustainability, City Light, and all of our departments represented here today to deliver on a plan that gets us to carbon neutral by 2050 or sooner. Be optimistic. A plan that will outline clear intermediate milestones with clear short-term actions. A plan that has expanded funding for community-led sustainability initiatives to create more spaces just like the one we're here at today. Partnerships with our labor partners to ensure a just transition, and robust accountability measures to track our progress. Seattle has the resources, the talent. This group here today really exemplifies that. And we have the will to lead the nation in addressing the climate crisis. And we know that leadership means more than just setting goals. It means ensuring that every resident benefits from our green transition. You know, I also chair the Committee on Federal Administration and Policy Change, where Council is tracking how changes in federal policy will have impacts to our city. And this action here today demonstrates that Seattle will not back down from our work in addressing the climate crisis. The future of our city depends on climate action that leaves no one behind. And as your sustainability chair, I'm committed to pushing beyond incremental change towards transformative solutions that our community deserves. And together we can build a Seattle that is not only carbon neutral, but truly a city where clean air, safe streets, and sustainable transportation are rights, not just privileges. Thank you for being here. Now let's get to work.
Thank you so much, Councilmember Rinck. One more round of applause. Woo! All right, I am now delighted to welcome 30-year veteran of Seattle Department of Transportation, fearless director, Audium Emery, who is going to talk a little bit about her vision and dedication to sustainability. Let's give a warm round of applause. All righty. It's brisk. Happy Earth Day. Thank you, Mayor Harrell, and thank you to all our partners, city colleagues, and community advocates for being here today. I especially want to share my gratitude with our city family departments who are helping lead this work across the city. At SDOT, we know the way people move through Seattle, whether on foot, by bike, by bus, by scooter, or by car, shapes the health, resilience, and equity of our city. That's why we're proud to support this executive order, which brings new urgency to reduce transportation emissions and build climate resilience with tangible near and midterm action. Transportation makes up to 60% of our Seattle core greenhouse gas emission. So the work we do together has real impact. Through our climate change response framework, we're focused on making low emission travels options more accessible, safe, and reliable for everyone. That includes a citywide network over 200 miles of bike lanes, the one across the street, which is being built with a lot of trees, right? And over 50 million in annual investments in transit service, access programs, and rider experience. This EO moves us forward on several fronts. As the mayor shared, we're preparing for the 2026 FIFA Cup. Who's a soccer fan? Coming up, yeah. Where we aim for 80% of fans to arrive without personal cars. We will do this by working with local partners to expand shared micromobility, improve transit options, and create welcoming, walkable streets near Seattle Center, Pike Place Market, which tomorrow will be the first pilot that will be issued with less cars. Yay! The Chinatown International District and Pioneer Square. We're also investing in low pollution neighborhoods, starting with communities facing the greatest environmental and traffic safety challenges. These areas will be designed in partnership with the residents to improve air quality and create more livable streets. Our work to expand transportation electrification includes adding charging infrastructure at parks, libraries, community centers, and launching a new e-cargo bike program
and bringing electric car share options to environmental justice neighborhoods, all while upgrading the grid to ensure access is affordable and reliable. Thanks, Seattle City Lights. She's somewhere here. We're also making it easier for people to choose a variety of options to get around. Through an approach called transportation demand management, we're helping people shift to walking, biking, transit, or carpooling, especially during major projects like Revive I-5. It's just coming up this June. And with the average trip in Seattle being just over 2 miles, we have an amazing opportunity to flip short trips to be more sustainable modes. At Estat, we're committed to build a city that's more connected, climate ready, and community first, trip by trip, neighborhood by neighborhood. Thank you so much for having me here.
All right, thank you so much, Director Emery. We so appreciate your leadership. We are going to continue our transportation theme now and welcome to the podium Kirk Hovenkotter, who is the Executive Director of Transportation Choices Coalition. Come on up.
Hey everybody, happy Earth Day. I want to thank Deputy Mayor Farrell and the Mayor for having me here today. I'm Kirk Hovenkotter. I'm the current Executive Director of Transportation Choices Coalition. Transportation Choices Coalition is Washington State's nonprofit advocate for safe, sustainable, and equitable transportation. Today, on Earth Day, I'm honored to stand with the Mayor and community leaders in support of this executive order. I think it's meaningful to have this conversation here on the site of a former gas station turned community arts center. And at its front door is a bike path that will connect all the way from downtown to South Park, providing a safe, accessible, and carbon-free way to get between these communities that have borne the brunt of pollution. On a beautiful day like today, it might feel like things are going in the right direction in our environment, but the reality is more sobering. Environmental protections across our country are being rolled back to empower corporate polluters. The work of nonprofits addressing the climate crisis is more important than ever. We stand with these organizations because we are one of them. If we are going to slow the climate crisis, we must make transit, biking, and walking the first choice for more Seattleites. 58% of the emissions in Seattle come from transportation. The vast majority of that is people driving alone in their cars. And as the Office of Sustainability and Environment's greenhouse gas inventory points out, that's only growing. Seattleites don't have time to waste in so many regards. If they will choose transportation that feels safe and gets them between A to B as quickly as possible and saves them time and money. That's why we need more frequent and reliable buses. We need safe bike paths, and we need great sidewalks. We were proud to help lead the passage of the Seattle Transportation Levy, the largest levy in city history with the mayor, to make investments in our streets, our trails, our transit. On this Earth Day, we know that the work isn't done yet. This executive order commits the city to go further, especially at a time when our federal government is pulling us backwards. It will fund investments that will make it easier for people to walk, bike, ride, and roll to destinations across the city and get more transit passes into people's hands today. Transit riders will benefit from the mayor's executive order, and we are excited to see it put into action. Thank you to the mayor, thank you to Deputy Mayor Farrell, Director Emery, and thank you all for your time today. Thanks.
All right, thank you, Kirk. So before we transition to our final speaker, I just wanted to say a big thank you to Deputy Mayor Wong, who is here today, Director Chow, who is in the back, Mari Harita from the One Roof Foundation, and raise your hand if you're an OSC staff. You guys put in so much work into making this happen today. Thank you. You guys are so fantastic. I am now delighted to introduce Emily Pinckney, who is the Yay! Let's give a round of applause right now. There we go. Who is the co-chair of the city's Green New Deal Oversight Board. Raise your hand if you're part of the Green New Deal Oversight Board. Let's give you all a round of applause. These members of this committee work so hard to advance climate justice policies for the city. And we so appreciate their dedication, the time, and all of their passion in helping build a city that is equitable, just, and sustainable for every single one of us. So with that, I'm so delighted to introduce Emily to bring us on home. Come on up, Emily.
You have my speech. All right, thanks, Dad. Heard you. So, hi, everyone. I'm super excited to be here. This is a beautiful day. Happy Earth Day, everyone. Right? We did it. We're here. I will say, as I've heard everybody's speeches, I started to become so emotional because I'm so proud of being in this city and being surrounded by so many amazing people. You know, my name is Emily. I use she, her, they, them pronouns. I've been an intersectional environmentalist for years, and I have the privilege and pleasure of being on the Green New Deal Oversight Board in an emissions reduction position. Seattle, but, you know, we're not just here to talk about climate, but to talk about justice and resilience and a future that really belongs to all of us. You know, we've seen the floods, we've seen the wildfires. You know, we saw the heat dome in 2021 that shattered records and took lives of our elders, lives of our unsheltered neighbors, of our most vulnerable and underserved communities. And we know that these life-threatening climate events, they're not some distant warning, but they are here today. And they are accelerating in frequency, in severity, and in impact. We don't have the luxury of delay. Emissions are already sneaking back towards those pre-pandemic levels. And at this rate, we need to move 10 times faster to meet the urgency of this moment. Now is the time for people-powered solutions. But that's why we're here today. This new climate action plan is more than just policy. It's a promise. It's a promise to act boldly, to act together, and to act justly. This plan lays out the foundation for a future where our communities, our environments, both natural and built, are healthy and safe and resilient, where clean, green union jobs are powering this just transition, where community engagement is not extractive nor performative, but it's led by frontline voices, especially Black and Indigenous folks, immigrants, folks with disabilities, and historically underserved communities, who have been on the front lines for far too long and right in the front of environmental injustice for far too long. No one is left behind in Seattle's clean energy future. This is why things like resilience hubs, like this amazing place that we are in today, these are communities that are equipped to respond to the extreme weather, to offer care, power, shelter. These places are essential because resilience isn't just about bouncing back. It's about building forward smarter and more equitably. We're also honing in on one of the biggest contributors to emissions, that's transportation. Right now, transportation is responsible for 58% of Seattle's greenhouse gas emissions. And we know this disproportionately impacts BIPOC communities who are often left with the fewest transportation options and the most exposure to pollution. The Climate Action Plan has a vision of public transit that's accessible, affordable, and green, as well as having ideas of walkable neighborhoods and decarbonizing infrastructure that connects every single neighborhood in this beautiful city. We build on the strength and vision of our ancestors, the ones who protected the land, the water, and each other. We build on the work of our communities, who fought for environmental justice for decades. Their legacy lives within this plan and in the commitments that we are making here today. And let's be clear, Seattle's not just some city. We are a sanctuary city. We are a climate refuge. People come here and will continue to come here to seek safety, hope, and a new future. We must be ready, not just with policies, but with compassion, infrastructure, and vision. This plan is our blueprint, and it'll take all of us, the mayor, city leaders, workers, organizers, artists, our neighbors, to bring this to life. We are not starting from scratch. We are rising from a foundation of wisdom, resistance, and community power. Right? Right? So let's move together with urgency, with hope, and with each other. Seattle, as a climate leader, the world is watching us now. Let's show them what it means to lead with justice. Thank you.
Okay, that was so inspiring. Thank you so much, Emily. We are now going to do the signing event. So I'm going to have Mayor Harrell come to the blue chair here. And why don't we have folks in the first 3 rows file up on either side, and we'll stand around the table.
I do have to say one thing, though.
Oh, yeah.
I have to say one thing. Emily, I'm going to need a copy of that speech when we leave here, okay? All right, thank you very much.
Okay, come on up, have a seat, Stay right here.
That was really powerful.
That was awesome.
Thank you. How are you getting here? I was like, this is the first time I've ever been called. Holy shit. I'm like, I'm usually 5'5". I was like, oh my God, from the Seattle State Lake.
Oh, yeah,
Okay. I saw it back there, but
You got a good shot there, Tim? All right.
tall shoes today.
Nice bit of it, too. All right. Yay!
Emily, you killed it. It was amazing.
Okay, final words. I have here, aha. Okay. It is Earth Day, so of course we are going to do something with leaves. So on your way out, you will see these green leaves where you get to imagine and commit to one thing that you are going to do to improve our climate, to participate in our climate action plan. And it's an opportunity to actually influence the climate action plan right now. So I wrote down, I'm going to drive less, walk and bike more, because of course, deep down, I'm a true believer. So let's get out of our cars. And thank you once again, Mayor Harrell, for your leadership and everyone for being here. Thank you. Have a great day. Thank you. Great job.